Welcome to the Manifestation Pod. We're Sam and Louise, two ordinary mums living extraordinary lives.
Every 2 weeks, we're diving into a new well-being, self-care or self-development topic that we've used to manifest a life of joy.
We want you to join us on this journey. We are all about building a community of people who are ready to do the same, manifest their best life, one step at a time.
So grab a cuppa, get comfy, and let's get started.
Hello and welcome to episode 7, season 2 of the Manifestation Pod with me, Sam Billingham, and Louise Marshall. Hi, Louise.
Hey, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Very good. You've disappeared off camera.
I did that purposely.
Okay, all right, that's fine. It was really distracting.
Sorry. I
It's all right.
closed it. Is my sound still okay?
Yeah, you're all good. You're all good. Don't
I
worry.
closed it because I can't multitask, I've discovered. And when I am looking at you, that's when I can't think of words. So if I'm just not looking at anything, I feel I'm more concise. I've set myself up by saying that, haven't I? Because people will expect fluency from me. May not happen.
It's all right. It's all good. It's all good. So our episode today is about loneliness, which might not feel particularly high vibe for us on the surface of it, but there is always a vibe within it, and we think it'll resonate quite a bit. So before we dive into that, shall we have a little check-in? How have you been since the last pod, Louise?
Can't remember when we did the last pod, but yeah, pretty good. It was like we're in birthday mode. Well, weren't we? Which you're still in. It was my birthday, and this time it's your birthday. But yeah, I've been fine. Nothing majorly exciting going on. The weeks are just flying by. We're knee deep in Christmas preparation. The Christmas tree has been in my car for 3 days. I'm hoping it'll come out at some point this week. And maybe the Christmas fairies will dress it because I don't want to. But yeah, all good here. Nothing very exciting going on. Just looking forward to Christmas.
Yep, it is December. It was my birthday on the 1st. Hurrah, hurrah. So yeah, I've had my birthday since. It was pretty low-key, but lovely. Lots of thoughtfulness from the family, which was really nice. Like, felt really looked after and cared for by Carl and the kids, which is beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we went to see Wicked as well on Sunday, which was fun.
Is it good?
It was really good, actually. Yeah, I really loved the stage show. So yeah, it was really good to see it on film and get immersed in it. The cinema was absolutely packed. Like the world and its wife went to see it this weekend, I think. But aside from that, it was good.
Good.
So shall we dive in then?
Yeah, let's do it.
Go for it.
Okay, so we'll start with me because I was the one who kind of brought this up. So just to set a little story, give you some context, my birthday. I said on the last pod I had a great birthday, and I did. I wasn't lying about that. But I had a great birthday week, but not a great birthday day, which was a combination of factors. I worked from home on my own, bad move. I had a lie-in, so I didn't have a shower, bad move. All these things just don't help your mental health at all, do they? Yeah, it was just a bit pants, really. And then on my birthday night, me and Charlotte went to our local Foodie Friday, and she wasn't in the best mood, let's say. It was really cold. We didn't stay there long, but yeah, it was just a combination of things. So typically when you're feeling quite miserable and quite disconnected from everybody, which is how I felt on my birthday, even though like people rang me and stuff, it's not the same as kind of seeing people. And even though I'd seen lots of people that week, there was just something that made me feel quite, I don't know, miserable, I think, on my actual birthday. So we walked to Foodie Friday. It was absolutely freezing. There was snow on the ground. It was very slippy, and feeling this despondent, miserable, horrible mood. The first people I see there are my ex-boyfriend and all his friends, looking like, I keep saying this to everyone, but a Wham video of throwing their heads back, having a great old time, being with friends, just looking fabulous. And I was there with my child who was being a teenager and not really speaking to me that much. So I pretty much felt like I was there on my own. And you just wouldn't go somewhere like that on your own. So yeah, it was just all pretty shit. Came home, we watched a film. It was fine. We cozied on up. We had some nice food and at Foodie Friday as well. I ended up eating halloumi fries. It's just shit food, isn't it, at food festivals generally? There's nothing good or healthy. So that made me feel even more shit than I already did. Then we had some chocolate because, that's what you do. Yeah, so I felt fat and miserable then. Came home, we watched the film, it was fine. But that night, Charlotte had a nightmare and got in bed with me, and I ended up wide awake at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I started thinking, I just feel lonely. And I think it's a combination of many things that day that made me feel like that. Plus, it's my birthday. It's my first single birthday in a long time. It's my first single Christmas in a long time coming up. And all these things together, plus it was 3 o'clock in the morning, which is never a good time to go down this I feel lonely. And I
Mm.
started feeling I feel lonely, but I couldn't say that out loud. And the more I thought it, the more I tried to ignore it and the more upset I felt. And then I just thought, you know what? It is what it is. You feel lonely. You can't sleep now because Charlotte woke me up. And I just kind of sat with it for a while and thought, right, why do you feel lonely? And I was thinking, I've got no family in Manchester. Everyone seems to be doing family stuff at Christmas. There's loads of stuff on social media. But then after lots of thought, I just thought, I've got no family in Manchester. It is what it is. There's nothing I can do about that. I'm not lacking in family because I've not got a family. They're just not here.
Mm.
And I kind of sat with that for a while. And the more I sat with these feelings of feeling really shit and lonely, and I've got no family, I've got no boyfriend, yeah, I just felt really miserable. But I just kind of went with feeling miserable and leaned into it. And by morning, it was so weird when I woke up the next morning. I woke up so much lighter because I'd had these feelings. So then on the Saturday, we were doing, I can't even remember what we did, but we were doing stuff. And
Mm.
all the time we were doing it, I kept thinking about this. And I kind of thought things with Charlotte are changing because she's at high school. So she's not around as much as she was. I'm not needed as much. And I just thought this is a really good opportunity to look at my life and go, right, things have changed. Christmas isn't all child centered anymore for me because she's doing a lot of things independently of me.
Mm.
So it's just given me a chance really to think about that and think about designing my own Christmas now, um, and having the Christmas that will work for us, but will make me feel less isolated as I'm starting to feel. So one of those things, like a really easy solution, is Charlotte's at her dad's for 3 days over Christmas, and I always miss her. Combined with enjoying the fact that Christmas is busy and then I get a little bit of time to myself. But when I get her back, we kind of full on Christmas things. But a lot of those things she doesn't want to do anymore. And I thought, you know what, next year I'm going to Wales. I'm going to Wales and spend time with the family because we've never ever done that at Christmas. I mean, I've not actually spoke to anyone in Wales about doing this, but
Yeah.
we're going to do that next year. And that's just made me think about what we do, what our kind of rituals are, and our, what's the word I'm looking for, Sam? Things you do at Christmas that are nice, like
Traditions.
traditions, thank you. Yeah, and maybe look at changing them and mixing them up a bit and doing things a bit differently.
Mm. Sounds like a really good plan. Like, do you think you've felt like this before, but you've not dealt with it in the same way?
Possibly. I think I am, and so this led to a whole thing about not drinking.
Mm.
One of my things, even though I'm not drinking at the moment, we've talked about this, I'm still sober and I'm enjoying it. But one of the things that I am definitely guilty of doing is if I ever feel miserable, which is very, very rare, my solution to that is have a drink. Oh, have a drink and that'll get rid of that feeling. And it absolutely does. And now I've not got that crutch to lean on. I'm left with having to deal with it myself. So I think there've definitely been times of feeling like that in the past. They're quite few and far between, but I have felt like that and I've definitely not dealt with it.
Mm. I think that's what makes some of these feelings like stronger and harder, isn't it? Like this whole sobriety thing, it's throwing up all sorts, isn't it?
It really is because you're just bare. You don't have anything to just distract you from it. And I think sometimes distractions are good
Mm.
because sometimes, and I've also realised this about this feeling, as strong as that feeling was at the time and as miserable as I felt, it went a couple of days later. So sometimes it would be quite useful to have a drink because there's nothing really to unpick. You just feel like that because you're having a miserable moment and it'll pass. And
Mm.
a drink is just a way of making it pass quicker without going through that miserable like part of it. And sometimes there's nothing, it's not deeper than that. You're just in a bad mood and you're feeling sorry for yourself and throwing yourself a little pity party. I think as I've dug down, there
Mm.
probably is an element of that, but I think with me, there's definitely more to it. There's more that I really suppress bad feelings. I don't like feeling in any way miserable, lonely. I know none of us do,
Mm.
but I think it goes deeper for me. I think it really, really freaks me out to feel like that. And I will do absolutely anything to get rid of that feeling. I've never sat with it before. But by sitting with it, it completely loses its power.
Mm.
And that on the Monday, Amy rang me early and I didn't pick up the phone. And then I went for a swim. And then I came back and I was working. So I logged on and I was like full on work. And then she rang me because I'd not messaged her back. And she was like, Are you all right? And I said, Oh, God, yeah, sorry. I said, It's good to know that if I die, you'll be on it because it's been an hour on a Monday morning. You're already on the phone. And we had a laugh about it. But then I started telling her how I felt. And because I couldn't get the word, I couldn't say it. I couldn't say I felt lonely all weekend.
Mm.
And then because I kind of spurted it out, I started crying. And then I couldn't really stop. I mean, poor Amy, who needs that on a Monday morning? Um, But then she was saying she sometimes feels like that. And, you
Mm.
know, I spoke to you and you said that sometimes you feel like that. And I spoke to other people and they sometimes feel like that. My friend Sarah, who is the toughest person I know and does not do emotion, she said she feels like that. And I spoke to someone on my walk on Sunday and they said they feel like that. And I'm like, whoa, everyone feels lonely sometimes. And that's like a revelation to me because I've suppressed it for that long and never not for that long. I've not felt lonely for years, but on the pockets of time when I felt like that, I've never shared it because
Mm.
it feels to me, and it's a horrible thing to even think, let alone say out loud, but it makes me feel weak. And I don't do weak.
Yeah.
I'm not weak, I'm strong. So
Mm.
I can't say I'm lonely because that goes against everything I believe in about the world and about myself, that I'm strong and I can get through anything. So I can't say I'm lonely. But I've realised now that I can say it and it isn't weakness and it's fine. And
Mm.
lots of people feel like that, and that's absolutely fine.
Yeah, I mean, all that strength in your vulnerability now, but your vulnerability in those conversations with all those people has, given all them an opportunity to say something that they probably don't get a chance to say either,
Yeah.
which is
And
really
some
great.
people just said it very like, oh, yeah, I feel lonely sometimes. And I was literally like, whoa, look at you just putting it out there and not giving a shit about it. That's such a revelation to me because I would never do that. I'm
Mm.
always blown away by people being vulnerable because it just isn't me. It doesn't sit well with me.
Maybe that's changing with things
Maybe,
like this.
yeah, maybe.
Mm. I, yeah, when we started talking about it last week, I think it was before the last time we recorded the pod and we just had a little chat. Yeah, it did resonate with me. And I know we all have different types of loneliness, but I've definitely felt it over the years and at various times. Um, One thing that stands out to me is like Sundays always used to feel really lonely. And we've talked about this a little bit because part of the reason why we started the pod, wasn't it? Because we
Yeah.
always find Sundays, or found before, Sundays difficult, um, because there wasn't like enough connection, I think, on Sundays. And I think we've when we recognise that, we've both done little bits to overcome that, haven't we? You do your Sunday
Yeah.
walks, I do various things on a Sunday morning, spiritual online stuff, or classes that I go to, and that's really, really helped with that. But um, I ended up talking to Carl about it this morning. Actually, I was telling him we were doing the pod and talking about it. And as I was sat there, I wanted to say to him, like, I felt a bit lonely on my birthday. Like it only was fleeting
Hmm.
because, I spent a lot of time with him and the kids and my mum. But there was like an element of just a passing few minutes during the day of loneliness, and I'd not felt it like full on like that for a while. And I did end up saying it out loud to him. I sat there for a few minutes. I was like, "Oh, I don't want to say this. It's going to make him think that
Yeah.
I didn't enjoy my birthday, or it's something about him." But he was really good at it. So he was just like, "Yeah, everyone does sometimes, don't they?" And then he recalled like some billboard in Manchester years ago that kind of said, you've got the car, you've got the family, you've got the house, and yet you still feel lonely. And I think it was an advert for going to church, but he remembered that. So, yeah, there you go. You sparked another conversation, another vulnerable conversation that I think maybe we should all start having, because clearly we're all feeling elements of it.
Yeah, it's funny. One of the ladies who I work with, who does listen to the pod, so she will hear this.
Mm,
She said that she feels lonely on Sundays, and that's why she comes walking. She's married. She's got kids. She's busy.
yeah.
She's got a lot going on, but she feels lonely on Sundays. And you're right about Sundays. And I think because I don't work, um, I don't really start my full work week until a Wednesday properly.
Mm,
So I have elements of that. Sometimes on a Tuesday night, I can't wait to get in work on a Wednesday. And I'm sure Wednesday morning I annoy everyone because I don't shut up. Because I'm like, hi, what have you been doing? I'm excited to be with people.
yeah.
Um, yeah, it's strange. The other thing is as well, I get peopled out. So I do like a lot of time on my own.
Same.
It's weird. It's weird how you can feel lonely, and like you say, when you're with other people. So I felt lonely this year, and there was a definite, and I felt really sad about it.
Mm,
Conscious my mum's probably going to listen to this, but I'm going to say it anyway. When we went to Wales this year, Charlotte sits in the front because she claims she's travel sick. I don't think she is anymore, but she
yeah.
likes to sit in the front, and my mum sits in the back.
Mm,
And because we're on a motorway, and we're in my mum's car, so it's not my car. My car's electric. It's dead, dead quiet. Her car's like, I'm sure I think it might even be a diesel. It's quite loud. So when my mum's in the back, I can't hear her. So we don't have a conversation at all. And Charlotte's in the front, and she likes to have her headphones on. So she basically says, turn the radio down, turn it down. I can't hear whatever she's listening to or watching. So I sit in the front doing a 5 hour journey.
mm,
I don't have any music to listen to because Charlotte's turning it down because she's watching TV or whatever. She's on her iPad. My mum's in the back doing crossword, reading the paper on her phone. And I just sit there thinking, I've never felt so bored and lonely in my life.
mm,
I absolutely hated that journey this year so much because if I was on my own, I'd be like, right, I'm going to do a playlist. I'm going to listen to this. I'd break up the journey in my head and
mm,
I'd appreciate the time on my own. I wouldn't feel lonely one little bit on my own. I love doing a long journey on my own. I'd stop, I'd think about what food I'm going to get. But in the car, I'm concentrating on where I'm going because no one's helping me navigate. I'm making sure I'm like in the right lane. I mean, I know the journey. It's not a big stretch me getting us to Wales, but I just feel like a bit like a taxi driver,
mm,
a bloody unpaid one, who's just driving like, my nearest and dearest, but no one's actually talking to me. And I really, really felt it this year.
mm. Yeah, that is quite a lonely place to be, isn't it?
It really is.
Yeah, it is. And that transition as well, like you mentioned, the kids go into high school. George has gone to college this year. There's just something about it. they are out a little bit longer. They're away more, but they're just more disconnected from you as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I think if they were old enough to be out of the house for long periods on their own,
Mm,
it might feel differently because you can make the best of that time.
yeah.
But I'm finding, I'm getting, last night, for example, she brought someone home for tea, didn't ask, didn't chat with me first, just did it. The week before, she went somewhere to someone's house for tea. I'm not saying someone like she goes off with random people, it's one of my friends. But I was on the way to pick her up and she was like, oh yeah, mum, I'm going to Phoebe's for tea. And I was like, right, okay. And then I had this pocket of time that's tea time on a Monday night. What do you do with that? Would
Mm,
anyone be free to do anything? Of course not. What would you even do at 5 o'clock on a Monday night? And
yeah.
I just had this 2 hours of oh, restlessness, a bit of boredom. I didn't have I don't know, sometimes when you're getting 2 hours to yourself, you plan it, don't you? You're like, oh my God, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Because it's just thrown on me. I'm not quick enough to think, oh, I could spend it wisely doing this or that. I just feel a bit pissed off by it.
Mm,
And that doesn't feel nice. She's living the best life. I want her to be doing stuff like that. Of course I do. But it's just leaving me with a bit of a hole that there's nothing really to fill it other than very low vibe stuff, washing a few pots, scrolling on my phone, nothing that's making me feel good. So I'm really, really thinking about that,
mm,
about what I can do. And also relationships. And it pains me to say this out loud, but Matthew, because of how toxic that relationship was, it's left a massive void. Not a
mm,
good void, but it's left a void because all that energy that's spent on trying to make that relationship work when I really should have walked away long before I did, that's left a void. And I've hated saying that out loud because it feels like I'm saying I miss him and I
mm,
don't. It's like if you had a dog that shat everywhere for 3 years and then 3.5 years, 4 years disappeared,
mm.
that dog and the cleaning up the shit would leave a void,
Yeah, of
wouldn't
course
it?
it would. I know, absolutely. And it's not like we don't have kind of busy, full lives, but
I
it's just
know.
a natural void, isn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, this is what I'm spending my pre-Christmas thinking about.
Yeah.
It's a good time of year to have a bit of a reset and think about what I want next year to look like and to do more high vibe stuff
Mm,
off the cuff when I get these pockets of unexpected time.
yeah, absolutely. There has been loads, but now that I'm thinking about it, loneliness. Like I had a job when I left uni that I got to work on my own. Like it was a really good job straight out of uni. But I'd work on my own. I'd go into these businesses in the mornings, and then in the afternoon, I'd go home and write a report. But I
Yeah.
lived on my own for a lot of that time as well. And oh my God, I was so lonely, like so lonely. So that was like quite a physical sort of loneliness. Um,
Yeah, it is. And you've not got anyone to talk to about. I've been in a similar position doing that with a job.
mm,
But you don't have anyone, when something happens on the news that's quite breaking, like for example, this weekend, Greg Wallace all over the internet. You don't have anyone to talk about stuff like that, just to go in
yeah,
work and go, oh my God,
yeah.
what are everyone's thoughts on this? Or just talking about stuff or what people did on the weekend. You
Mm,
don't have that when you work on your own and you work from home. And you can feel very disconnected from life.
yeah, yeah, it's true. Because I mean, I must have worked from home now in various guises for maybe about 5 or 6 years. And it's definitely got a kind of shelf life. And even now, in just the working day, I guess I do experience quite a bit of loneliness. I'm fairly good at recognizing it quickly before it gets to like sad proportions and booking stuff in, with, I don't know, a networking event or some kind of
Yeah.
thing to make sure that I get some kind of connection. But yeah, probably the more you think about it, the more areas of your life you do feel it in.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, in stark contrast, just to add a little bit of light to this conversation,
Mm,
I went on my work's Christmas party on Friday night.
yeah.
Oh my God. So, my first sober Christmas party, I had the best time. I
Mm,
drank no alcohol cider. So, I had cider breath and it was mega expensive. So, I definitely didn't feel left out. How can you? I just felt like everybody else. I think because I was drinking it out of a bottle,
yeah.
nobody even clocked the fact that I wasn't drinking, apart from people who knew that I wasn't drinking. And I think even they forgot after a while. But we went to Flight Club and played darts. We had such a laugh. And the people that were on my team just happened to be, they were picked at random, the teams, but there was like three people on the team who I'm really good friends with. And I just felt so connected and so happy and warm and feeling very, at peace with the world. And I was just thinking, these are my people.
Yeah.
You know, you just have that moment when you do something, you just feel really, really warm and cozy.
Mm,
And that was nice. And I thought, if we'd have done it, because it was the week after my birthday, if we'd have done this on my birthday, I'd have had the best birthday ever,
yeah.
like without a doubt. And it's just a day, your birthday, isn't it? I think we do feel slightly obligated to have the best time and be with the best people
Mm,
and live your best life.
yeah. It does come with, like
Naturally.
expectations and kind of pressure your
Absolutely.
birthday, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it's just a day at the end of the
Yeah.
day. It's just another day in the 365. And other days you do feel connected. You can't always get it to line up on the day you want it to line up. Christmas is another
Mm,
example of that. I've never really enjoyed Christmas Day. I love the build up to Christmas. It's my
mm,
favourite time of year. But actually, Christmas meal isn't my favourite meal ever.
yeah.
I like watching Charlotte open her presents in the. I love the morning, but after that, I always think by lunchtime it's all a bit ugh.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a funny one, isn't it? I think that's why this time of year just makes you think about it and focus on it, really, doesn't it?
yeah, yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think for me, for New Year, it's back to basics and looking at. I don't want to say gaps in my life, but where there are gaps in my life where Charlotte's off doing something and not giving me any notice of it, and I've got a few hours to myself thinking about what I can do with that time.
Mm,
It's high vibe
yeah.
because I think one of the problems we have, one as women,
Mm,
and for me particularly because I don't have any family here, um, other than my mum and my daughter. I don't have any extended family, so we don't get to do that big Christmas with lots of people around the table.
yeah.
Is to think about things we can do instead of that.
Mm, yeah. Well, it's good to think about it, isn't it? And I was doing some research and thinking about all this last night, and I came across the Marmalade Trust, which is a charity for loneliness.
Oh wow.
I've come across them before, actually, in the charity world. They're wonderful, but I thought I would read a little bit from their website about what is loneliness, so we can maybe help others sort of recognize it, and then also they give some tips on how to overcome it as well. So
All right, okay, that'll be good.
let me read this. What is loneliness? We all feel lonely at times. It's a natural human emotion. We're biologically wired for social contact, and loneliness is our signal that we need more. So loneliness is a perceived mismatch between the quality or quantity of social connections that a person has and what they would like to have. So everyone's experience of it is different. You don't have to be on your own to feel lonely. You might be in a relationship or spending time with friends or family, on the internet or in a city. You can feel lonely if you feel like you are not being acknowledged or understood by those around you. So I just thought it was a nice little description. And the bit that got me was like the perceived mismatch between the quality or quantity of the social connections. And I think for me, sometimes it's the quality of those social connections. You know,
Definitely.
not having, like you say, you're with someone, but you're not having conversations, or it's
Yeah.
quiet, or you're not having, good conversations. The phones are getting in the way of stuff like that, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
And I guess teenagerdom as well doesn't help, does it?
No, it doesn't. But again, I think for me, and what you said, it is very individual, isn't it? Everybody's different. Um, yeah, I think for me, I need to embrace this new chapter of Charlotte's life
Yeah.
and see what things we can do, like different to what we used to do. Maybe change up our
Yeah.
traditions, stuff that she doesn't want to do anymore because she's got no interest. And just, yeah, I think I just need a bit of a reset for New Year and just look at what our life looks like and what we can do differently.
Yeah. Which is pretty much what the Marmalade Trust said, actually. So it's got
Oh,
3 simple steps to feel less lonely. Acknowledge the feelings of loneliness. Tip.
yeah,
We're doing
yeah.
that today.
Well,
Yeah. Step 2, identify what you might need in order to feel less lonely. Well, we're starting to think about that, aren't we?
yeah,
And step 3, take action and begin making new connections.
yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, a work in progress. I'm sure loads of people will resonate with this, especially at this time of year. There is something about winter and going inward and having that more time to reflect that just really makes you think about it, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I think more people probably feel lonely in the winter because part of my issue is I don't always want to go out.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
this mismatch of I don't want to stay in on my own. And someone will go, do you want to do this? And I go, oh God, no. It's freezing. I don't want to go out on a Wednesday in winter. Yeah,
And as it's, a signal to the fact that we need either more connection or more quality connection, then we've just got to kind of listen to that, haven't we? And work out a way to improve it.
yeah. And I think the connection thing, I think years ago before I had Charlotte, when I had pockets of being single, I always used to, and there was a period of time I did absolutely no self help whatsoever. I was very partying, and I used to just be out all of the time. But a lot of that connection was not quality at all. It was quantity. I'd go to the opening of an envelope if it meant a night out, and I think that ultimately led to me completely changing my life and going, I'm not happy with this life. I want to do something different. And we went on this journey, didn't we?
Mm, yeah.
Of doing different things. But you can have connections as well with people that. So my little walking group, there's become now one, two, three, four, 5 of us that have really connected. And we actually, and I didn't bring it up on on Sunday, but one of them suggested like having a get together in January.
Mm.
Us just going out and doing something. We've actually decided, it's quite funny actually, we're going to do a pub crawl with pubs that are quite in the country and a bit of a walk in between each pub.
Ooh.
The interesting thing about this pub crawl is none of us drink. So it's a bit of an odd one, like why would you do a pub crawl? But it's just a purposeful walk with rest stops built in, I suppose, and food at the end of it. So yeah, we're going to do that.
Oh, brilliant. That sounds really good. Really good.
Yeah,
So maybe
it is.
we can come back in the new year on the pod when we've had like a bit more time to think about what we're gonna do fully to overcome it. It sounds like you're already doing little bits with your walking group and stuff.
And that's just happened weirdly, holistically, because I didn't actually bring this up. Somebody else suggested it, and then we kind of went with it. In fact, I've just realised I'm supposed to be making a WhatsApp group, and I completely forgot. But I didn't even suggest that because, well, I just didn't. That just happened by itself. So there's a bit of law of attraction there where we're even thinking
Mm.
these things and the conversation I had about loneliness was with one member of the group. It wasn't with the group. We'd kind of when you're walking you kind of split off sometimes. So 3 were in front and me and there was 2 of us behind and we were having the conversation, so other people weren't even listening to it, and
Mm.
then they suggested that. So there was a bit of like asking you shall receive, that we are seeking to make connections, and then once you put it out in the universe, sometimes it just happens for you, doesn't it?
Well, that's it. Yeah. I mean, you've started that little walking group, haven't you? And sort of committed
Yeah,
to it. And now, you're starting to see the benefits of that. And that's all part of building these connections in a new and different way, I guess, isn't it? So you're already
Yeah.
taking good actions.
Yeah, and it's weird because the group that I post on, I mean, I don't even know how many members it's got, but it's got a lot of members. I know they're not all local to me, but it's quite interesting that we've ended up with these five of us. I really like these people. Like how unusual. Is it unusual? Maybe that's the wrong word. How fortuitous to, out of a group of that many people, me just putting a random who wants to go for a walk on Sunday, and lots of people have come and dipped in and dipped out. There's kind of five regulars now,
Mm,
and with different ages, we're different, we've got the fact we're all women in common, but we're all very different. We've got very different lives, and yet we've just seemed to have bonded, and it's nice. And there's no hierarchy, or we've all got very big personalities, but there's no like jumping over each other or shouting over each other or any beef in the group. It's just nice. We go for a walk and we kind of put the world to rights. It's very therapeutic.
sounds good. Sounds
Yeah,
good.
yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, let's invite more of that kind of connection then into the rest of this year and all of next year, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. And what you said about that poster Carl um, saw, and it was
Mm.
about the church. I've always thought it must be nice to be religious, to have that place to
Mm.
go every week with like-minded people to. I know I'm probably doing a very idealized version of what church is like, but that's what we talked about, wasn't it? Starting, we
Yeah,
joked about it, but starting a religion. We want somewhere to go where, imagine somewhere we could go every Sunday morning to maybe not worship for 2 hours, but do something for 2 hours with like-minded people. But to
yeah.
make that grow, that's the dream, that isn't it? Really?
I know it is. It is. And I've talked to a lot of people about doing that kind of thing, and a lot of other people feel like that as well.
Yeah,
They want to be connected to somewhere, to people. It's natural, isn't it? There's no shame in us talking about this. And I think it's really, really important that we do. And
absolutely.
start to build a world that has got all of this back in it. This is it's a proper like primal feeling, isn't it? Like they said on
Yeah,
there, human connection is like part of us, and we need more of it, don't we? We need more of it.
we definitely do. And I think as a middle-aged, middle class, one of those women, I'm definitely being drawn more towards women as I get older.
Mm,
I've definitely, I mean, I've got friends in work who are boys. I've got really good friends in work about that are boys, but I can't have the same conversations with them. Hashtag odds. It's all, yeah, it's very different. But I do like women's companies. I'm getting older. I really appreciate it. I get it. We've just got lots in common, haven't we?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's nothing more special really than being in space with women. Yeah, it's funny because because the weather's been bad and stuff the last couple of weeks. A lot of my classes have been cancelled, and I wonder actually if I've really missed that connection, and that's
Oh gosh, yeah.
yeah, that might have led to my little bits of feeling of loneliness the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I can't remember which Sunday I didn't do the walk, but yeah, I definitely miss it when I don't do it because it's nice. I think that's the thing about when you look at your life on a weekly basis, you need a little bit of variety, don't you? You need a little bit of
Mm,
everything. You need some like familial connection. You need your little group connection. You need your friend connection. You need all these different facets so that all together we become these rounded people
yeah.
that are interacting with lots of different people, not just sticking to the same people all the time.
Exactly. Yeah. So I guess if like anyone's listening to this and it's resonating and they're feeling it, check out Marmalade Trust to begin with because it
Yeah,
helps you work out ways to do connections. Get in touch with us because this is part of, why we've built this. And, I have made friends of people that listen to the pod over the years and like over the years, gosh, it has been a couple of years, hasn't it? But
yeah,
this was what we wanted. We wanted to build community through this, didn't we? And slowly but surely, in our own way that isn't on social media for the most part, we are doing it, aren't we? So get in touch with us if you want to connect and you're feeling lonely.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're in Manchester, come for a walk on a Sunday morning.
Exactly. Yeah, check out Thrive on
World.
Facebook.
Yes, yes, that would be good to put a link on actually for Thrive.
Yeah, it
They
will.
are an amazing group.
They are. They do loads of stuff all over the country, don't they? That's not just Manchester.
Yeah, no, it absolutely isn't Manchester. It's all over the country. There's lots of different parts of Thrive. There's Thrive Wellbeing, which I think is the core. No, Thrive Women Living Our Best Lives is the core group. And then there's like a wellbeing group, there's a support group, there's a health group, there's a LGBTQI group. There's lots. That's only a few. There's hundreds of groups within it. So whatever you're into, you can find a group to suit you. So yeah, have a look. It's very good. And Anne and Tracy, who run it, are two of the loveliest people I've ever met. They're really, really nice and supportive. And trying to keep it, even though it's a massive group, they're all over it. They feel you know who they are. You definitely feel like someone's running the group. It's not just a faceless Facebook group. So yeah.
That's good. It's a really good place to send people to then, isn't it?
Yeah. In fact, I might put the pod on there today, since we've done a shout out to them anyway. I might send Anne a little message later and say,
Absolutely. Yeah, especially when the episode comes out, get them to listen.
Yeah.
See if it resonates. Yeah, that was a good episode. It feels like slightly therapy type episode, that one, but it's important, very important, I think, to share and reach people with as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's a big thing, isn't it? It's a big thing feeling lonely or isolated. So yeah, it's important to kind of like you said, the 3 steps: acknowledge it, identify it, do something about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, yeah, now that you're listening to this and checking all that out, we'll all feel less lonely by Christmas. Next year, we'll be all connected more. And maybe we'll have a get together for the pod. Who knows?
Oh my God, that'd be amazing.
It'd be amazing, wouldn't it? It'd be absolutely amazing. Watch this space, eh?
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Right. We will see you in a few weeks' time. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for joining us today on the Manifestation Pod. We hope you feel inspired to start creating the life that you've been dreaming of.
Remember, we're all in this together and we'd love for you to be part of our community. So don't forget to subscribe, share and connect with us on socials.
We're here every 2 weeks, so catch us next time with more tips and tools to help you manifest the life you deserve.
Until then, keep believing, keep manifesting and keep living that extraordinary life. Bye!
Bye!